Welcome to the Key Comp Eng introduction. So here I am, I'm Eric Yates, and hopefully you're watching this video because you followed the link at the top of my resume. And the purpose of this video and the videos to follow is to give a quick introduction of who I am and a bit of a background to help reading my resume make a little more sense. My resume is a little different from recent computer engineering graduate. I started my career as an electrician and millwright, and I spent a lot of that time at a company called TCA Technologies before transitioning into um, computer engineering at the University of Guelph. So that was it was a very challenging transition. So I started in industrial automation, did the electrical ticket, realized right away that you're going to be doing the mechanical work if you're capable, so you might as well have papers. So I made sure to get signed up for that and kind of overlapped the apprenticeship periods a little bit. And I actually got enrolled in the University of Guelph and finished my first year, but before I was able to complete the millwright ticket. So I didn't give up on anything. I just kept getting it done. And then after I did a year of part time at working at TCA Technologies as an electrician millwright, and then part time student. And I tried to do about 60% workload of the job and 60% of the schooling curriculum, and I burnt out really fast. It's very hard to sustain 120% of your output. So I went full time into school, and I was able to negotiate summer contracts at ATS Life Sciences. So they had me come back the following summer as well. So I'm very happy to that during my time in school, I was able to stay employed and continue to demonstrate my value to the workforce. So I'm going to do a quick resume overview. There are going to be other videos that focus on each summer where I worked at ATS Life Sciences, and another one for being at TCA Technologies, and another, possibly more than one, of the most interesting projects that I developed in the University of Guelph. So I'm just going to move on quickly to take a quick look at my resume, give a tiny bit of backstory on each experience entry, and keep the video short so that anybody practicing engineer who might consider interviewing me finds this video manageable to fit into their schedule. So the skills section is a little chaotic because I wanted to represent my background knowledge in the trades and my experience in commissioning automation while also reflecting the schooling that I've been through. So it's a very tightly jammed collection of buzzwords for like a resume skimmer AI tool to read and see the keywords. So it's categorized into hardware, software, project management, and test validation commissioning. Most of the words are either software tools or platforms that the skill is obviously in using them well. So for the first category, we've got electrical design automation, which applies to FPGA design, which I did a lot in school, as well as IC design. So that's Vivado and Quartus are competitors for FPGAs, and Cadence Virtuoso was transistor level design for ICs, and Altium is board level design, which is all stuff I did in school. And then in the CAD category, we've got the stuff I'm familiar with from my working in automation, which is ePlant, AutoCAD Electrical, and SolidWorks. Moving on down, because on the next layer of software engineering, I include this because the computer engineering program shares a lot of overlap with the computer science faculty. So there's not much point in designing a computer if you don't know what you're going to do with it. So you definitely need strong coding fundamentals, and you need to realize what your code is doing to a CPU and how you're efficiently using resources. And your compiler is not magic. It does. A lot of smart people worked for decades to make this happen. It's very cool. It's very important to understand the full stack of technology and as much as you can, and make use of it properly. I throw in this quick little weird category of OS for Linux and Windows because I've never been a Mac guy, and if you're interested in embedded systems, which I am, you need to run Linux, and I wanted it to be something that can be picked up by a resume skimming tool. I'm going to move through project management. It's an important category. Every job needs to get done on time, and these tools like Jira for tasks and Git for code version control and BOM management for all your parts, and project manager are all tools that I've seen used for or there's even a whole set of tools within BOM and PLM management. Um, just something I have experience with, managing part databases. Um, Testing and validation, I wanted to kind of loop in, tying it all together and show that if you're in a industrial setting, uh, I know how to work with a team, and sometimes when you're working with teams of people, the people you're working with have a very specific skill set, and the saying is, the person with the hammer sees every problem as a nail, is definitely true. And a lot of times, problems where, especially where hardware and software meet, which I really enjoy the area where hardware and software meet because I think it's more fun. You get more toys and more tools, and you just get more insight into the whole system, and I find that very interesting. And the boundary between software and hardware is very it can be at a chip level to a sensor, or it could be in an industrial setting. You might have a PLC and or a field I/O system, and it can be a lot less nuanced. But still, when the software guy thinks the code's right and the hardware guy thinks everything's set up right, and it doesn't work, sometimes it's hard to know who needs to focus a little more to get the job done. So I wanted to talk about that and my capacity to work both sides of those types of problems. I also have this category of wiring assembly where I end up focusing a lot on safety. Lotto is lockout tagout. It's if you've been in any industrial setting or even in a lab for electronics, you still need to be aware of the hazards of electricity, and for big machinery, pneumatic and hydraulics and just getting crushed are non-trivial hazards. So from doing the dual ticket and working, I have a strong awareness of the safety consequences of entire systems. And so it's important to include that, as well as just the practical capacity to wire and set up something. If I decide that I need this done, I can definitely take care of it myself. So continuing on, we're just going to really briefly talk about these experience items, where this first one is the most recent summer pass at ATS Life Sciences, where they had me come back from the summer before that, and I worked on a tool. I built an application. I wrote code all summer, and the point of the application was to interface with the ePlan API to allow the configuration of Symphony, which is their automation system that I will detail in the other video. This is probably a sufficient introduction that I developed an application for configuring this automation system, and the purpose of configuration was that in the end you would generate schematics. And the summer before that, I used ePlan, and in the video about the summer of April 24 to August 24, I predominantly learned ePlan, learned the workflow of ATS's product lifecycle management system and acquisition processes, and helped get a proof of principle machine running, which we succeeded in, and it was very interesting. I'll get very excited to talk about that machine, so that'll be another video more focused on automation. And then at the very end, we go back to 2015, where I happily spent 8 years at a company called TCA Technologies, where I built and assembled automation systems for automotive, medical, food, pretty surprising variety, really enjoyable equipment to work on. Continuing to the bottom here, where there's my most recent advancement in education at the University of Guelph, doing computer engineering, really focusing on hardware and embedded systems and transistor level design and like register transfer level design, as well as the software to make it work. So there's definitely going to be some some more videos of my favorite projects, which potentially will tie into, there's a GitHub account also on the resume with the same handle as the YouTube channel. And I'm just starting now, so we're filling it up as time goes on, and depending on who I get more engagement with, be it hardware or software opportunities, I'll spend more time playing with Altium or writing code and potentially filling the repo and making videos to go with each repo. So the first one to come up will actually be of the first summer or the second summer at ATS, the most recent one, where I have some screenshots. I wasn't allowed to get all the code because of a non-disclosure agreement, but I was allowed to take screenshots, and I'll definitely talk about that in another video. So just finishing up, wanted to point out I got a scholarship for being the top-ranking tradesperson admitted to my program. That was nice. And I just have my rest of the education I've been through, where when I received my journeyperson status in both trades and the college programs that got me licensed. So that's the whole journey. Thank you for your interest, and I hope to talk to you in the future.